If you have felt like the ground beneath you is quietly shifting, stop scrolling. In the next 24 hours, the sky goes completely dark. And for the chosen ones, that darkness is not empty. It is a door. At exactly 5:43 in the morning on July the 14th Eastern Time, the moon disappears. The sun and moon meet in the sign of Cancer at nearly 22 degrees, the final, most concentrated degree of that sign. This is the new moon, and this year it is not an ordinary one, because sitting just 2 degrees away, locked in the same silent conversation, is Mercury, retrograde, moving backward through the exact same territory it already walked weeks ago. When a new moon lands this close to a retrograde planet, astrologers call it a review moon. It does not ask you to launch something new into the world. It asks you to go inward first, to finish the conversation you have been avoiding with yourself. If you are an Aries, a Cancer, a Libra, or a Capricorn, especially if your birthday falls near the end of June or the beginning of July, you will feel this most intensely. But even if you are not one of these signs, do not look away, because what happens in the sky during a new moon in Cancer does not stay in the sky. It moves into your home, into your body, into the quiet room inside you where you keep the things you have never said out loud. Cancer is the sign the moon calls home. It is the only sign the moon rules completely. So when the new moon lands here, it is not a guest in someone else's house. It is the moon, standing fully in its own power, asking you the one question you have been running from. Where do you actually feel safe? Not where do you live? Not who do you love? Where do you feel safe enough to stop performing? For the last few weeks, many of you have felt strange, tired in a way that sleep does not fix, emotional over things that would not usually move you. Old memories surfacing, a childhood home, a person you have not thought about in years, a version of yourself you thought you had already healed. This is not a coincidence. This is not just a bad week. This is the field before the new moon, the quiet gathering of everything that is ready to be released. Because on July 13th, the day before this darkness arrives, something else happens. The sun meets Mercury in perfect union, what astrologers call cazimi, the planet sitting in the heart of the sun itself. For 24 hours, hidden truths become visible. A message arrives, a memory clarifies, a door that was closed quietly creaks open, and then hours later, the moon disappears completely, and in that darkness, the seed you did not know you were carrying finally gets planted. This is why so many chosen ones have felt unsettled this week. You were never broken. You were being prepared. Not everyone will feel July 13th and 14th the same way. And this is where you need to pay very close attention, because the universe does not test everyone equally. It tests those it is preparing to elevate. If you have spent the last several months feeling like you were falling behind, watching others move forward while you stayed still, wondering if you were being punished or forgotten or simply too much, this new moon is your answer. You were not falling behind. You were being repositioned. The chosen ones are the ones who feel everything first, the ones who cried at a stranger's kindness this week for no clear reason, the ones who woke up at 3 or 4 in the morning, heart racing, with no memory of a nightmare, only a feeling, the ones who suddenly could not tolerate a relationship, a job, a room, a version of their own life that used to feel fine. That intolerance is not instability, it is your soul refusing to keep shrinking. Cancer rules the 4th house, the house of home, family, ancestry, emotional foundation. When the new moon lands here, with Mercury retrograde beside it, old family patterns rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to show you what you inherited without ever agreeing to it. A way of loving that was really fear. A definition of strong that was really silence. A belief that rest must be earned. This lunation asks you to look directly at these inherited patterns and choose consciously which ones you will carry forward, and which ones end with you. This is deeply personal work, and it will not look dramatic from the outside. You will not suddenly transform overnight. Instead, you may find yourself simply unable to send that text you would normally send, unable to say yes to something you would normally agree to out of guilt, unable to keep performing a piece you do not actually feel. This quiet refusal is the awakening. It rarely announces itself loudly. It just quietly stops letting you betray yourself. Watch for these signs in the coming days. Unexplained tears that feel like release rather than sadness. A sudden, overwhelming need for solitude. Vivid dreams about childhood homes or people from your past. A feeling of protectiveness over your energy that you have never had before. Numbers repeating, 444, 222, 707, appearing at moments when you are asking the universe a question. These are not random. Under a Cancer new moon, the veil between the emotional world and the physical world grows thin, and the signs multiply for those paying attention. If you are reading this and your chest just tightened, that is not anxiety. That is recognition. Your soul knows this message was meant for you. Here is what makes this new moon different from every other one this year. It is not arriving alone. Just 4 days later, on July 18th, Uranus and Pluto, two of the slowest, most transformational planets in the sky, perfect their first trine since 2012. Two planets that once tore structures apart through tension are now, for the first time in over a decade, working together in harmony. This means the new moon in Cancer is not just a personal reset. It is the quiet opening act of a much larger collective shift, one where things broken years ago finally begin to integrate. What you release in the darkness of July 14th does not just heal you. It becomes part of a wider healing moving through the collective field right now. You are not just changing your own life. You are helping shift the current the rest of us are swimming in. This is why so many spiritual teachers are calling this window a threshold moment. A threshold is not a wall. It does not stop you, but it does require you to leave something behind on the other side before you can fully cross. And this is precisely why the days on either side of the new moon can feel emotionally heavier than usual. You are being asked, gently but firmly, to set something down. Pay attention to your body in these next few days. Cancer rules the stomach, the chest, the parts of us that hold emotion physically. You may notice tightness, unexplained fatigue, or a need to eat differently than usual. This is your nervous system processing an energetic shift, not a random physical symptom. Treat your body with unusual gentleness right now. Warm baths, quiet mornings, and time near water are especially supportive during a Cancer lunation. This sign is ruled by water, and its energy responds to water rituals more than almost any other sign of the year. There is also a financial and domestic layer to this moon. Cancer's fourth house touches home, property, and long-term security. If you have been circling a decision about where you live, who you live with, or how you build stability, this lunation quietly nudges that decision forward, even if the actual moment of clarity does not arrive until the corresponding full moon 6 months from now. Plant the seed. Do not expect the harvest yet. And because Mercury is retrograde and sitting almost exactly on top of this new moon, this is not the moment to sign contracts, launch new projects, or make loud, public declarations. This is an inward new moon, the kind that asks you to whisper your intention rather than announce it. Write it down. Say it quietly to yourself in the dark. Let the intention exist in your heart before it exists anywhere else. That is how Cancer wants to be honored. If the last few weeks have felt like a test, that is because, spiritually speaking, they were. Every major awakening carries a testing period before it, a stretch of time where the universe checks whether you are ready to release what you say you want to release. Here is how this test usually shows up. Someone from your past resurfaces, unannounced, not to bring you back, but to check whether you have actually moved forward. A situation you thought you had already outgrown repeats itself in a new outfit, asking whether you will respond the old way or the new way. An opportunity arrives that looks exactly like what you asked for, but something about it feels slightly off, testing whether you will choose comfort or alignment. This is the chosen one's testing and protection framework at work. The universe rarely hands your next chapter to you gently. It usually places one last version of the old pattern directly in front of you first, not as punishment, but as confirmation. Will you choose differently this time now that you know better? Passing this test does not require a dramatic gesture. It requires a quiet, internal no to something you would have said yes to 6 months ago. And if you fail it, if you fall back into the old pattern one more time, please hear this clearly. You are not disqualified from your awakening. Ascension is not a single, perfect staircase. It is a spiral. You will revisit similar lessons at higher levels of awareness each time, and each pass teaches you something the last one could not. Be gentle with yourself. Growth that never wobbles is usually growth that was never real to begin with. During this Cancer new moon window, the protection layer strengthens for those doing the inner work honestly. Synchronicities increase. You think of someone and they call. You ask a question out loud, and a stranger's conversation answers it. A song plays at the exact right moment. These are not coincidences. They are your spirit team, confirming that you are on the correct path, even when the path itself feels foggy or slow. This is also an excellent window to set boundaries you have been avoiding. Cancer energy is deeply nurturing, but it is also fiercely protective. Think of the crab's hard shell around its soft body. This lunation supports you in building the same kind of protection, soft enough to still feel, strong enough to no longer be hurt by everyone who gets close. If there is a relationship, a habit, or an obligation that has been quietly draining you, the days around July 13th and 14th are unusually supportive for finally naming that boundary, even just to yourself first. Whatever unfolds in the next 48 hours, trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The chosen ones are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who keep choosing awareness again and again, even when it would be easier not to. Now that you understand what is unfolding above you, here is how to move through it with intention instead of simply being swept along by it. First, on the evening of July 13th, take 15 quiet minutes before bed. This is the day of the Sun-Mercury Cazimi, the moment hidden truths rise closest to the surface. Ask yourself one honest question. What have I been avoiding saying to myself? Do not answer it immediately. Let it sit. Often, the truest answer arrives the next morning, right around the exact moment of the new moon itself. Second, in the pre-dawn hours of July 14th, ideally as close to 5:43 a.m. Eastern as your schedule allows, create a small ritual of release. This does not need to be elaborate. Light a candle, Sit somewhere quiet. Write down, in your own handwriting, what you are ready to release from your emotional foundation. An old belief, an inherited fear, a version of yourself that no longer fits. Then write, just beneath it, a single true intention for the emotional home you are building instead. Fold the paper, place it somewhere private. Let the darkness of the new moon hold it for you. Third, because Cancer is a water sign, use water deliberately in these 2 days. A warm bath with sea salt. A glass of water held in both hands while you silently state your intention, even standing in the rain, if it comes. Water carries emotional energy more efficiently than almost anything else in the physical world, and under this particular moon, it becomes a genuine tool rather than a metaphor. Fourth, protect your peace fiercely over the next 48 hours. With Mercury retrograde sitting this close to the new moon, miscommunication rises. Conversations may not land the way you intend them to, and other people's words may not land on you the way they intend either. If tension arises with someone close to you in these 2 days, consider waiting to respond until the moon begins to wax again in a few days' time. Not every message needs an immediate reply. Not every silence needs to be filled. Finally, watch your dreams closely on the nights of July 13th and 14th. Under a Cancer lunation, the veil between the conscious and subconscious world grows unusually thin. Keep a notebook beside your bed. What arrives in your sleep during these 2 nights often carries guidance that your waking mind is too busy or too guarded to hear clearly. You are not led to this video by accident. If something in these words made your chest tighten, or your eyes sting, or a memory rise without warning, that is your soul confirming what your mind has been too afraid to admit. The door is open. The darkness is not empty. Walk through it gently and walk through it awake. If this message found you tonight, it was not random. The new moon in Cancer does not call to everyone the same way. And if you felt every word of this, you are exactly who this was meant for. Before you go, I want you to do 3 things. First, comment the word chosen below. If you felt this energy shift this week, I read every single one, and I want to know how many of us are walking through this door together. Second, share this video with the one person in your life who has also been unusually quiet, unusually tired, or unusually emotional lately. They may need to hear this exact message tonight. And third, if you have not already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next 48 hours are only the beginning of what this Uranus-Pluto trine is about to open for all of us, and you will not want to miss what comes next. Take a slow breath with me right now, in and out. Whatever you are releasing tonight, release it fully. Whatever you are planting, trust that it is already growing even in the dark. You are not falling apart. You are being remade. I will see you in the next video, Chosen One. Until then, stay awake, stay open, and trust the timing of your becoming.